I used to think happiness was a treasure chest waiting for me at the end of some grand adventure. I'd stare at the horizon, dreaming of glittering cities and wild escapades. But you know what? I nearly missed the gold right here. My family's laughter, the warm sun on my face, and those butterflies dancing in the fields are the real gems. I wore blinders, racing toward a mirage, while the sweetest moments were under my nose. So, I've decided to flip the script. I'm still dreaming, but now I was savoring every little joy. Who knew happiness was just a heartbeat away, waiting for me to notice? The distant mirage. The sun was setting behind the rolling hills, casting long shadows over the village. The air was thick with the scent of the earth after a summer rain, and the river shimmered with the dying light of the day. Yet, for Leo, none of this beauty mattered. He stood at the hill's edge, his eyes fixed on the horizon, yearning for something more. His chest tightened with the weight of his unfulfilled dreams, his heart pounding in a rhythm that echoed with the same question he had asked himself for as long as he could remember. Is this all there is? Oh, every day felt the same, waking up to the familiar sounds of the village, surrounded by faces that had known him since he was a child. He should have felt comforted by the closeness of it all, by the stability of a life already laid out for him. But instead, it suffocated him. The village was a cage, its walls invisible yet unbreakable, trapping him in a world that felt too small for someone like him. Leo wanted adventure, excitement, and a future filled with possibility. He had heard tales from travelers about the glittering cities far beyond the hills, streets paved with opportunity, and lives that moved as fast as the stars shooting across the sky. He would lie awake at night, staring at the same stars, imagining what living in such a place would be like. His heart ached for a life he had never known, one where happiness didn't seem like a distant mirage, always out of reach. But as he stood there now, with the cool breeze tugging at his hair and the soft sounds of the village behind him, a gnawing fear clawed at his insides. What if he was wrong? What if the happiness he sought wasn't waiting for him out there, but was here, in the place he had always known, just beyond the veil of his discontent? Leo shook the thought away, his frustration rising like a storm. How could anyone find happiness here, in this sleepy, ordinary place? Like a bird with clipped wings, he felt trapped, forced to watch the skies, but never take flight. He longed for more than his father's life, working in the same fields, living in the same house, and being surrounded by the same people until the end of his days. That couldn't be his fate. He wouldn't allow it. And yet, even as the determination hardened inside him, a shadow of doubt lingered. He thought of his parents and his little sister's laughter as she chased butterflies in the fields. He thought of the warm dinners around their modest table, the way his mother's eyes sparkled when she told stories of her youth. There was love here, warmth, and something profound that tugged at the edges of his heart whenever he considered leaving. But wasn't there more to life than this simple happiness? The horizon called to him, the unknown stretching out like an unwritten page, beckoning him to fill it with his own story. But what if he lost something precious in chasing that dream? Something he couldn't see, something hidden in the everyday moments he had taken for granted. His chest heaved with the weight of these questions, emotions swirling within him like a cyclone. The world beyond the hills was vast, but it was also dangerous and unpredictable. And then there was this village, small and quiet but safe, where he knew every rock, tree, face, and smile. He couldn't stay, but leaving terrified him in the same way. As the last light of the day faded from the sky, Leo clenched his fists, his heart a battlefield between hope and fear, ambition and doubt. Somewhere in the distance, a bell tolled softly, calling the villagers home for the night. But Leo didn't move. His gaze remained fixed on the far-off horizon, his thoughts tangled in the tension between the life he had and the life he dreamed of. Little did he know, this moment, this very breath he held in his lungs, was the beginning of a journey that would change everything. It would take him far beyond the hills, but it would also lead him deep within himself to a truth he had been too blind to see, The answers he sought were not in the distant lands he dreamed of, but hidden in the simple, quiet moments around him. And that truth would come to him, not with the gentleness of a breeze, but with the force of a storm, one that would tear through the very fabric of his soul, leaving him changed forever. Here's a heartwarming story with the core message of appreciating what we have and living in the moment. The Distant Mirage. The Dream of Tomorrow. Once, a young boy named Leo lived in a quaint little village surrounded by hills and rivers. Leo was known for his big dreams and aspirations. Every day, he would sit on a mountain, gazing beyond the horizon, imagining what life would be like in the distant cities where towering buildings kissed the sky and lights shimmered like stars at night. He spent so much time dreaming about the future that he barely noticed the beauty around him, his family, friends, and the little wonders of the village life. He imagined that happiness awaited him far away, in the great unknown, the wise stranger. One afternoon, while Leo sat in his usual spot, an older man appeared beside him. He introduced himself as Mara, a traveler who had visited countless lands. "You seem to be looking at the future, young one," said Mara, his voice calm yet wise. "Yes," replied Leo. "I want to be out there, where everything is grand. That's where happiness lies. Here, I feel stuck." Mara smiled kindly. "You remind me of someone I met on my travels, a boy just like you, always looking ahead for what he believed would bring him joy, while failing to see the treasures right beside him." The Journey Within. Intrigued, Leo asked about this boy. Mara began telling him a story about a prince from a faraway kingdom. The prince had everything one could wish for: wealth, family, friends. But he believed that happiness only existed beyond the palace walls. He left home, traveled to distant lands, and sought grand riches. But the farther he went, the emptier he felt. Years passed, and the prince eventually returned to his homeland, older and wiser. When he saw his family, friends, and the kingdom that had flourished in his absence, he realized something profound. All the happiness he had been searching for had always been there. It had been in the smiles of his loved ones, in the beauty of his surroundings, and the simple joys of daily life. Mara concluded, the prince learned that happiness isn't found in distant lands or dreams, but in the appreciation of what's right in front of you. The present moment. Leo was silent for a long time after hearing the story. He thought about his life, his parents, friends, and the village that had always nurtured him. He realized that while dreaming of the future was necessary, he had been so focused on what lay ahead that he had forgotten to cherish the present. From that day on, Leo lived differently. He still dreamed of the future, but he also learned to appreciate what he had: his family's warmth, the laughter of his friends, the simple beauty of the village. He stopped chasing after distant mirages and started seeing the treasures right beside him, the youth's legacy. Leo became a source of wisdom for the village youth as he grew older. He shared the lesson Mara had once given him: happy will never come to those who fail to appreciate what they've got by looking so far ahead for things close by. He taught them to dream, live in the moment, love their surroundings, and appreciate the people in their lives. He reminded them that happiness isn't a far-off prize. It's something we carry with us if we only take the time to see it. And so, the village youth grew up wiser and more content, knowing that the secret to happiness wasn't hidden in the future, but in the here and now. Appreciation is key. Sometimes, we become so focused on achieving distant goals that we forget the simple, beautiful things already in our lives. Balance dreams with gratitude. While it's important to dream and plan for the future, don't let it close your eyes to the blessings of today. Happiness comes from within. True happiness isn't about what you achieve or where you go, but about recognizing and valuing what you already have. Live in the moment. Don't postpone your happiness for the future. Take a moment each day to be grateful and appreciate what surrounds you. This story encourages young people to keep dreaming, stay grounded in the present, and recognize the importance of gratitude.